Welcome to the Soysauce. We're whipping up engaging discussions and insights on incredible books, pulling out the most powerful insights and practical takeaways so you can absorb incredible wisdom and spark new ideas all on your terms.
Let's sprinkle some soy sauce on your next book adventure.
Okay, let's jump in. Today we're doing a deep dive into personal growth, professional growth too, really guided by the ideas only in Kaizen for personal and professional growth.
hmm
And our mission, well, it's to unpack this core idea from the book, how focusing on, those seemingly small problems and then using rewards in a smart way can actually lead to some pretty big changes.
Yeah, significant changes.
So the book kicks off talking about minor hindrances, things that aren't like total disasters, but they're just annoying.
Right, like that squeaky door you mentioned, or maybe a desk that's just always cluttered.
Exactly. And the force argues that, okay, they're irritating, but dealing with them early stops them turning into much bigger, more drastic issues later on.
You ignore the small stuff, and suddenly you've got a major problem on your hands.
Precisely. Like that tiny inbox issue suddenly becoming a missed deadline. The book says, tackle it now.
And it's fascinating why the source stresses the minor things, isn't it? It really gets to the heart of Kaizen.
It is.
Well, it's that whole philosophy of continuous small improvements. Focusing on these little things makes the whole idea of change feel less overwhelming.
Ah, okay. So less like climbing a huge mountain.
Exactly. More like just, clearing pebbles off your path. It makes progress feel achievable step by step.
Right, that makes sense. So then, once you start fixing these little things, the book brings in motivation, specifically incentives and rewards.
hmm
It kind of highlights how we're, well, wired to respond to positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Rewarding yourself for solving these little problems builds up that internal drive, makes you want to keep
Yeah,
going.
and it connects it directly to like behavioral psychology. B.F. Skinner's work gets a mention.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, it shows how that positive feedback loop, getting a little reward helps shape your behavior pretty quickly. You fix something small, get a small reward, you're more likely to do it again.
So you're kind of training yourself.
Basically, yeah. Using that well-known psychological principle for your own growth. It's pretty clever.
But then there's a twist.
Yeah.
This is where it got really interesting for me.
The caution about rewards.
Yes. The book shares this observation about Japanese executives.
Mhm.
Apparently, they often gave small, frequent bonuses, not massive ones.
Right. And the reason.
The reason was they found big prizes could actually reduce intrinsic motivation, the drive that comes from within, and creativity too.
They wanted people driven by the work itself, not just chasing some huge carrot.
Exactly.
And that, I think, connects straight back to the listener. It raises a really important question. How do you reward yourself, or maybe others, without accidentally, killing the passion for the task itself?
Yeah, because it's not just about work bonuses, is it? It applies everywhere.
Totally. Personal life, leadership, even how you might encourage your kids, as the source mentions. Where might you be using rewards in a way that's actually counterproductive?
So, okay, if big rewards can backfire, what does work? The book gives us these three qualities for the perfect reward.
Appropriate, relevant, and inexpensive.
Right. Appropriate, relevant, inexpensive. Why those three?
Well, they directly tackle that problem of killing intrinsic drive. An expensive or inappropriate reward, maybe something totally unrelated, can feel disconnected, right?
Yeah, it distracts from the actual achievement.
Exactly. But a small, relevant reward, like, say, a 10-minute coffee break after you finally clear that inbox, or maybe getting that slightly nicer pen you wanted after finishing a tricky report, it celebrates the specific step.
It keeps the focus on the progress.
hmm It reinforces the feeling of accomplishment, the process itself, not just some big external prize. It keeps that internal engine running.
The book also briefly mentions how this whole Kaizen approach, paying attention to the small things, can even strengthen relationships.
Yeah, helping you be more present, more fascinated by the people and activities around you, finding pleasure in the moment again. It's a nice side effect.
So, pulling this all together,
hmm
what's the big takeaway for you listening? This deep dive really suggests that momentum, real change, often starts small.
Spot those little problems, tackle them.
Right, and then strategically reward those small wins. Use rewards that are appropriate, relevant, and inexpensive. That builds the engine for bigger change
But why should you care?
because it's a practical tool. It lets you make progress without feeling overwhelmed, right where you are at work, at home, relationships, wherever. It's doable.
And that brings me to a final thought, drawing from the source. If these small, inexpensive, relevant, appropriate rewards are so key for maintaining that intrinsic drive when we're fixing small problems,
Uh-uh.
what does that suggest about how we usually try to motivate ourselves or, motivate others when we face those really big, daunting challenges? Are we maybe using the wrong kind of fuel?
Okay. That's all. Thank you for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Leave a comment below.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like and subscribe now. Can't wait to share more incredible book insights with you next time.